The air in the dining room crackled with a tension so thick it could choke you. I sat at the oak table, the one we'd picked out together at that overpriced antique store, its surface now scarred with the ghosts of 1,000 dinners. My fork hovered over a plate of half-eaten pasta, the marinara congealing like blood in the dim glow of the chandelier. Across from me, Elise's eyes darted to her phone, her fingers twitching as if they ached to grab it. She didn't. Instead, she forced a smile, the kind that didn't reach her eyes, and said, "I'm pregnant, David. We're going to be parents." Her voice was bright, but it trembled, a violin string plucked too hard. My heart stopped, not from joy, but from a cold creeping dread. I'd had a vasectomy 2 years ago. The words hung between us, heavy as a guillotine blade. I stared at her, searching for the woman I'd married, the one who'd laughed with me under a starlit sky in Santorini, promising forever. Her auburn hair fell in soft waves, catching the light, but her face, God, her face was a mask, pale and taut, like she was waiting for me to shatter the silence. I didn't. I couldn't. My mind was a storm of questions, each one sharper than the last. How? Who? Why? The room felt smaller, the walls pressing in, the faint hum of the refrigerator in the kitchen buzzing like a swarm of accusations. David! Her voice cracked, a plea wrapped in panic. She leaned forward, her hands gripping the edge of the table, knuckles white. Say something. I set my fork down, the clink against the plate deafening in the quiet. That's impossible, I said, my voice low, steady, though my pulse thundered in my ears. You know why. Her eyes widened, just a fraction, but enough to betray her. She opened her mouth, then closed it, lips trembling. What do you mean? She whispered. But the lie was already crumbling, her composure fraying like cheap thread. I stood, my chair scraping against the hardwood floor, a sound that echoed like a gunshot in my head. I had a vasectomy, Elise. 2 years ago. After we agreed no kids. My words were deliberate. Each one a stone dropped into the chasm growing between us. I watched her face collapse, the color draining, her breath hitching. She didn't know I'd kept the medical records, tucked away in a locked drawer in my office, a quiet precaution I'd never thought I'd need. I don't understand, she stammered, her hands fluttering to her stomach, protective, instinctive. There must be a mistake. Maybe it didn't work. Those things can fail, right? Her voice was desperate now, grasping at straws, but the quiver in it told me she knew the truth was slipping through her fingers. The room spun, a kaleidoscope of memories and suspicions I'd ignored for months. The late nights at her office, the vague excuses about client dinners, the way her phone was always face down now, its screen lighting up with notifications she'd dismiss with a nervous laugh. I told myself it was nothing, that love meant trust, that doubt was a poison I wouldn't drink. But now, standing there, the poison was all I could taste. Let's not do this, I said, my voice colder than I meant it to be. I walked to the office, my footsteps heavy, deliberate, each one a countdown to the inevitable. The drawer creaked as I opened it, the manila folder inside feeling like a loaded gun. I returned to the dining room, tossing the vasectomy records onto the table. They landed with a soft thud, the sound of our marriage breaking. Elise stared at the folder, her breath shallow, her eyes glistening with unshed tears. David, please, she whispered, but she didn't reach for it. She didn't need to. The truth was a living thing now, clawing its way into the open. Who is he? I asked, my voice barely above a whisper, but it carried the weight of my rage, my heartbreak, my disbelief. I wanted to scream, to shake her, to demand answers, but all I could do was stand there, rooted to the spot, my hands clenched into fists at my sides. She shook her head, tears spilling now, streaking her cheeks. It's not what you think, she said, but the words were hollow, a reflex. I love you. I didn't mean for this. Stop. I cut her off, my voice sharp enough to make her flinch. Don't lie to me. Not now. The room was suffocating, the air thick with the scent of her perfume, jasmine, the same one she'd worn on our wedding day. It made my stomach churn. I wanted to believe her, to cling to the life we'd built, but the evidence was undeniable. A knife in my chest twisting with every breath. Her sobs broke the silence, raw and ragged, filling the room with a grief I couldn't touch. It was a mistake, she said, her voice breaking. It was one night, David. One stupid night. I was lonely and you were always working and I didn't mean to hurt you. Lonely. The word hit like a slap. I thought of the late nights I'd spent at the firm, chasing promotions to give us the life she wanted. The house, the vacations, the security. I thought I was enough. I thought we were enough. But now, her words painted a different picture, one where I was the absent husband, the man who'd left her to drown in her own solitude. Who is he? I asked again, my voice steadier now, though my heart was splintering. I needed a name, a face, something to make this real. She looked away, her gaze fixed on the window, where the streetlights cast long shadows across the lawn. It doesn't matter, she said, her voice barely audible. It's over. It was nothing. Nothing. I laughed, a bitter, hollow sound that startled us both. You're carrying his child, Elise. That's not nothing. She flinched, her hands tightening over her stomach, and for a moment, I saw something in her eyes. Guilt, yes, but also defiance. A flicker of something that made my blood run cold. I didn't want this, she said, her voice rising, desperate. I wanted us. I wanted you. But you were never here, David. You were always somewhere else, even when you were sitting right there. The accusation stung, but it didn't erase the betrayal. I wanted to hate her, to let anger consume the love I still felt. But it wasn't that simple. Love doesn't vanish in a moment, no matter how much you wish it would. I sank into the chair, the weight of her words pressing down on me, heavy as the silence that followed. What now? I asked, my voice barely a whisper. I didn't know if I was asking her or myself. The future we'd planned, kids or no kids, vacations, growing old together, was gone, replaced by a void I couldn't navigate. Elise wiped her tears, her face hardening, as if she'd made a decision. I'll leave, she said, her voice steady now, resolute. I'll go to my sister's. You don't have to see me again. The words should have brought relief, but they didn't. They carved out a piece of me, leaving a raw, bleeding wound. I wanted to stop her, to beg her to stay, to fix this somehow, but I couldn't. Not after this. Not after her. As she stood to leave, her phone buzzed on the table, the screen lighting up with a name. Mark. My heart lurched, a final twist of the knife. She froze, her eyes locked on the phone, then on me, and in that moment I saw the truth she hadn't spoken. Mark. Her coworker. The late-night meetings. The client dinners. It was him. She grabbed her phone and walked out, the front door closing with a soft click that echoed like a gunshot. I sat there alone, the vasectomy record staring back at me, a testament to a trust that no longer existed. The house was silent, but the weight of her betrayal lingered, a ghost I'd carry forever.